India has reacted to the United Nations report about the presence of 6,500 Pakistani terrorists in Afghanistan, saying that it vindicates New Delhi's long-standing position that Pakistan is the epicenter of international terrorism. A new UN report says that there is continued presence of the senior leadership of the UN-designated terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda, and its affiliates in Afghanistan, as well as a large number of foreign terrorists, including up to 6,500 Pakistani nationals operating in Afghanistan. New Delhi added that besides UN-designated entities, Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed operating from Pakistan-controlled territories, facilitating trafficking and imparting training to other terrorists in Afghanistan, there is more to it. Pakistan has failed in fulfilling its international obligations, including under relevant UNSC resolutions and the Financial Action Task Force, to put an end to support terrorism emanating from territories under its control. According to the United Nations report, the location of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed is Mohammad Dara, Dur Baba and Sherzad districts of Nangarhar province. In Kunar province, Lashkar-e-Taiba retains a further 220 terrorists and Jaish-e-Mohammed has about 30 more, all of whom are dispersed within Taliban forces. And this is something that India has always known and always in fact cried out to the world, especially the United Nations. But all those pleas, those assertions and those reports and those exemplary evidence has fallen flat on the ears of the United Nations. And in fact, now they think that Pakistan does have terrorists and it is going to do something about it or not. Whether UN does something about it or not, but we have to talk about it with our guests on the show. Muhammad Ali Shah, defense expert, joins me on the broadcast. Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Card, also here with us. Sumit Peer, political analyst, also with us on the broadcast. Joyita, how sardonic is it, that the United Nations, after such a long time, so much has happened, there's been so much water under the bridge, has finally woken up from its stupor, its slumber, and realized, hey, look, there are terrorists in Pakistan, let's fill up a report about it.
What happens in the US is that they sometimes wake up and suddenly, for the detectives, they wake up according to the meaning. And the thing is, you see, in this case also, this seems to be happening.
Okay, Joyita, we'll just back to you. I think, Joyita, you perhaps could be logged in from two different devices. In fact, once you fix that, we'll come back to you. Muhammad Ali Shah, let me come back to you. It is poignant, Muhammad Ali Shah, if you can hear me, that the United Nations has to wake up from... Yeah, I said it's very poignant that the United Nations has to wake up from its slumber after so many people have lost their lives. And now that Pakistan has penetrated, well, it's not recently penetrated, the ranks of the Afghanistani terrorist organization, the United Nations has woken up, because the United Nations does have a very strong and a prevalent presence in Afghanistan today. Obviously, owing to the human rights violations, they do have people posted over there and they get to know what's going on. What has changed over the last 6 months, ever since the United States walked out of Afghanistan, that the United Nations has started to believe there are terrorists in Pakistan? We have been telling them for so long.
That's exactly the point, Vineet, and you said it brilliantly well. I mean, we have been shouting from our lungs out for so long that we have been telling UN, but no. Now, see, I'll tell you what. UN has been influenced by the US, of course, and that has been influenced by China once again. But last 6 months, they have been taking cognizance of what people have been talking about Pakistan. So now, UN seems to be waking up, and hopefully, this is what, we were very apprehensive about UN's intervention. Why? Because so far, UN would only in a way favor Pakistan. But now, hopefully, with UN's intervention, something positive could come up, because now they are coming to believe the fact that they are terrorists in Pakistan. Look at, for example, when Prime Minister Imran Khan came to power, he had links with Khalil, who had links with Al-Qaeda, who helped him to win elections. The largest terror training camp in Pakistan came under Imran Khan's regime. Like, for example, the example of Balakot. It was a 7 kilometer stretch, or rather over 7 acre in one part of it, which had cooks, drivers, cleaners, tradesmen, barbers. I mean, ridiculous. That was an organization like in the army we have tradesmen. They were trying to run a parallel army along with the Pakistan army over there.
Yeah.
So we had no choice but to do a strike on them, to do an airstrike on them. And now when US is coming to believe it, yes, it is a positive sign for sure.
Absolutely. Joyita, I may have reservations about Donald Trump, and I hope you can hear me now, Joyita.
Yes, I can.
I may have reservations about Donald Trump and the way he's, dealt with a few topics, if we can call them. I do hail the point that, he's distanced the United States from the World Health Organization. It is heavily, controlled by China. It's a puppet to China, and perhaps, somewhere on this page, you can make the same statement about the United Nations as well. What has changed now that the UN has woken up to the presence of these nefarious elements in Pakistan? Did they receive any proof? Did they ask India for proof when 26/11 happened, when our parliament was attacked? Did they ask India for proof what happens along the LOC on a regular basis? What changed their mind, basically?
Well, nothing has really changed their mind. I mean, UN has always been, frankly, UN is a totally ineffective body. It does not matter in world politics. Nobody cares about what the UN does. The thing is that that's a fact. No one really cares for what the UN does, but obviously we would like to be part of the UNSC. Now, but I think even the UN is also starting to realize, there has to be a limit to hypocrisy. You just cannot, it is known that Pakistan is a terrorist state. It's a different matter that, UN has allowed its platform for China and Pakistan to band together, and India. If you remember, there is the Kashmir issue. China even now periodically keeps raising the Kashmir issue at the UN. And
Okay, Joyita, I have to stop you. You say that the UN doesn't matter. The UN has accepted that Pakistan is a terrorist organization, correct? That's the inference I've made from what you've just said, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so will they allow Imran Khan to speak at the UNSC, at the UNGA in the future? Will he be given, will he be allotted 45 minutes vis-a-vis the 15-minute duration that all leaders from developed countries and developing countries were, given?
The whole point is, it is difficult. I mean, UN will go by what it has been doing, and after all, Pakistan is a sovereign nation, and they will keep doing exactly. And Pakistan, the very fact that Imran Khan cannot be stopped from giving a 45-minute speech, a rant basically against India, it shows how ineffective and how ineffectual the UN is. Frankly, Donald Trump is right when he says that we don't need the UN.
Okay, when you say we don't need the UN, Sumit Peer, you are basically nullifying, negating the stance that the United Nations has taken, that they acknowledge that Pakistan is a terrorist state. And that is something that we have also very, fervently trying to tell them. So, these are in fact opposite arguments. Either you believe that there is a UN, all right? And if you don't, then there is no point expecting them to believe that there are terrorists in Pakistan. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I absolutely, Vineet. See, my take on it is you have to understand what changed in UN. ऐसा क्या बदल गया भाई?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Did they get a Akashvani, or did they get a revelation, or that angels walk their dreams? It's nothing like that, Vineet. Look at the peace treaty. US did a peace treaty with Taliban. Right? And now that peace treaty is not really working on the ground. What they have now realized, because this American interests which are involved, now they are coming up with a report that Pakistanis, there are 6,500 Pakistanis which are in Afghanistan, they are ID experts, they are this, they are this. That is what Pakistanis do, by the way. Or to unhe koi kaam aata nahi. Now they are bringing it to the global forum that there are Pakistanis who are involved, and it is because of these Pakistanis, they infiltrated the Afghanacs, they are killing the government officials there, they are destabilizing this US-led or US monitored or whatever US interested peace deal with Taliban. So now that is why UN has woken up to this. Now look at the agony of UN. There is a designated terrorist, Hafiz Syed. China brings on the legislation and UN, and they can get it in UNSC. There are they can block it. You can block a designated global terrorist in UNSC. What is the relevance of UNSC in a modern school of things? How many people do really listen to them, and why are they relevant? Either they will toe when it's America's interest, or either they will toe the Chinese interest. Today, this is the case of American interest. So they are really falling in the line within a month of 2 mahine mein, they could get the report, they could get the numbers, they could get which organizations, kahan taluka, kaun sa district, how many are IED experts, how many are non-IED experts. But when we have been shouting for 30 years, it was left to them. They are saying that they're still maintaining that the problem of Kashmir is the bloody freedom struggle.
Okay.
We have our men killed, there are people coming up with guns, and it's a freedom struggle. But when it comes to American interests, now they are Pakistani terrorists who are IED experts who are carrying guns. But when they come to Kashmir, they become suddenly these freedom fighters. See the hypocrisy. It's a question, we need to brilliantly put it out. It's a question of who's interested at stake. Depending on the person who's interested at stake, they two align. China ka hoga to they will block that. You are again Hafiz Saeed. Now it's the American interest. They will say now the 6,500 Pakistanis are there, and they could find it in a matter of months.
All right, we have Arjun. We also are joined by Arjun Hardas, foreign affairs journalist. Arjun, just like the UN, you have joined the party a little late, but you're still welcome. Just like the UN is welcome in acknowledging that Pakistan is a terrorist organization. Okay. The thought that runs through my head is prevalent to what the world finds itself in. The United States is mad at they feel it's controlled by China. Is the United Nations also expecting a similar fate, a similar backlash from other countries? And that is why it's picked up all these old dusty files. The first one being there are terrorists in Pakistan. Let's sign this and pass it off.
No, not at all. The rest of the world, to be very honest with you, is least interested in what is happening. Like Sumit said very specifically, it's a question of whose interest comes up on top. For years and years, despite for the last.
So it could be the UN's interest, Arjun. It could be in the UN's interest, and that is why they have realized this. They have recognized this. It is perhaps an existentialist crisis for the United Nations.
What is the United Nations? It's an organization made up of different countries. United Nations itself has got no specific identity that it's being targeted in the UN headquarters or anything like that. The fact of knowing that Pakistan is a terrorist sponsoring country is nothing new. That everybody knows.
Well, I know what the United Nations is, Arjun, but I'm saying who controls it? Are you saying there's nobody that controls the United Nations?
Whoever pays the maximum but pays more attention to it. It's like at the WHO, while the United States.
Exactly. That is the analogy I was trying to bring out.
But they didn't really bother to put their controls on it. The way China, which pays barely $40 million, when the United States was paying about $540 million, but had zero control over it comparatively to what China could do, paying just 1/10 of the budget. So the United States has got a maximum budget, which is paying the maximum at the United Nations. But they don't really, they have their own set of interests. They have their own what they want to do. They have a larger picture. And as long as it's the Western Front, let's say in Afghanistan's case, which is silent and which is the Afghani group under control.
The bigger, yeah.
Organizations like Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, etc., have made it also very and understood the control of the Pakistani army. That's pretty clear. And it's pretty clear that confine your activities to Pakistan's eastern front rather than the western front. And as long as that is contained and these organizations don't bother anybody in the Afghan side, the Americans also need please bother. They're not going to go up Pakistan ever in life for Lashkar or Jaish-e-Mohammed until one of them turns up in Afghanistan. Let's be clear about that.
Okay, Mohammad Ali Shah. It also brings us to another question. Do we need the UN to really recognize that Pakistan is a terrorist state? Is it going to change anything for Pakistan? Will Imran Khan tomorrow start tweeting against, this slumber that the UN has woken up from? Not at all. They're still going to continue doing what they do.
Very question, Vineet. Last year, 10th of March 2019, when there was a UN meeting happening and they were to declare Hafiz Saeed as a global, China had put their foot down on that. So UN is slowly losing credibility completely. As Joyita rightly said, who cares about UN? They are proving out to be toothless tigers. So we don't really actually need the UN as such. to declare, because the whole world knows it's not a secret anymore. I mean, yeah, sweet one, that's just a minute. So, to me, in 1999, when the Kargil war took place, we had Pakistani soldiers disguising themselves in civil dress coming into India as infiltrators. Now, when a country's army is involved to that extent, I mean, certainly, I mean, there's no question about it. You know, a couple of years back, school children were badly, very ruthlessly massacred in a school in Pakistan. Where does it happen? Who kills school children over there? Yeah? I mean, 100%. We do not need the UN to declare Pakistan, but of course, it would help to whatever extent, yes. But UN, of course, has been losing credibility. And the sooner they realize it, the better. And hopefully now, they seem to be realizing it.
Okay, Joyita, is the UN going to find itself in an existential crisis as well? You know, the way things are going for them?
Well, if Donald Trump decides to act on his promise, you know, he has been complaining about the UN for a long time. And look at it like this, UN has no teeth. I mean, whatever the UN might be saying, the Chinese will, and even if it is taken up in the UNSC, the Chinese will come and veto it. I mean, this is what happened, you know, when the UNSC was seeking about an investigation into the coronavirus pandemic. What happened? I mean, China vetoed it, that action. Anything you take up against Pakistan, they will veto it. And India had so much trouble to get Hafiz Saeed declared a global terrorist, and it happened only after, not Hafiz, that Masood Azhar, they had so much trouble to declare a terrorist. And only after China agreed to it, and you know, and that required months of negotiation, months and months of negotiation with China. Only after that, India was able to get Masood Azhar declared as a global terrorist. So basically, UN has no teeth whatsoever. And anyway, there is talk, because you see, there is this, as we have all been talking of this before Corona world and the post-Corona world. So will a new world order arise from the debris of what we are seeing right now? And if we see that until and unless in the new world order, UN does not have any relevance. So it is time to talk about a different world body. In fact, if you look at it, I mean, more organizations, I mean, these groupings like G7, which now Donald Trump wants to expand to G11 and all that, G20 for that matter, they have more weight than this UN, the UNGA.
Okay, Sumit, the erosion of UN's prevalence, do you think it is very new, or is it something you know, which has been happening for a long time? I remember sitting with most of the panelists who are with me right now and talking about how India should also make pitches, make statements to the United Nations and to the world through the UN in exposing Pakistan when it comes to the treatment of minorities, when it comes to you know, cross-border terrorism and the other atrocities that Pakistan is famous for. How can that platform suddenly you know, just evaporate all of a sudden? You know, my point being, it does hold some value, it does hold some essence, you know, in some tangents and in some ways it can be useful.
I see, Vineet, my take on this is that there is a very unfortunate situation with India. We are 1/6 of the humanity and we don't have a UNSC permanent seat.
Who's to blame for that?
If, you know, for us, you know, we have to put our foot down. Bhaiya, dekho, if you can give us a permanent seat in UN, then we are interested in your propaganda or whatever you are talking about. If you don't give us a permanent seat, 1/6 of the humanity does not have the permanent seat there. Third biggest economy by PPP, fifth by GDP, third biggest army and navy we have, we don't have a permanent seat there. Then what the hell is UN all about? And when you talk about things like UNHRC, the president of USA is cesspool of bias. You know, if you are there to run agendas of France, you are there to run Chinese or American agendas, Begani, Adima Abdullah Diwana, what are we going to do with it? In fact, we should give them an ultimatum. You get us our position there, otherwise we should walk out of UN because we are the highest number of, we contribute highest number of peacekeepers to UN. We pay a lot of money to UN. We support UN in all the way. And when it comes to Pakistan, when it comes to hurting India's interests, for 30 years they are saying it's a freedom struggle and they block this Masood Azhar when referendum against him using China, then what good is UN for, Vineet? What is it good for us? I want to ask one simple question through you and your channel. What has UN done for China, for us for last 30 years? पिछले 30 साल में हमारा क्या भला किया साहब आपने? Why are we there?
Okay,
Give us a UNSC permanent seat, otherwise we should walk out.
Okay, Arjun, is it as simple as that? That, we are 1/6 of the humanity and we command a seat at the United Nations, and at the same time, let me also amplify and supplement my question and bring in something which Joyita also said, that there's going to be a new world order. In that new world, will the United Nations have any relevance? Will it be taken seriously, or will it be just brushed off as a crony of a China or a United States?
Look, United Nations has become what a lot of people have openly said. It's basically a bureaucracy. And when your earlier point about 1/6 of the world's, question is what are we doing here? Okay, when you talk about, let's say, has the United Nations declared, okay, Pakistan a terrorist state or something like that, and what's it going to do about it? What does that mean? Does that mean that the United Nations has got any teeth to do about it, to do anything about it? They cannot. They are a sum of their members. If the members are not interested, all they should be left in doing right now, my personal opinion, is let's say stick to UN peacekeeping missions or relief missions, something like that, not for security missions of any kind. They have got no relevance. The United Nations, even when the United States operates under the UN umbrella in terms of peacekeeping operations, they don't work under the United Nations. They have their own command structure. They cooperate with the United Nations if required in some places, but they never work under the United Nations mandate. They work separately. They say we'll cooperate with you, but that's it. So the question is, what are we doing about it? The UN structure, especially the P5, reflects a 1945 model. And let's say for some reason, if China had not got into the favor of the United States 50 years ago, but today, can you imagine a country like Taiwan, which is smaller than even England and France, would be sitting on the United Nations Security Council? What kind of idiocy is this? I mean, why does England?
We are not there.
So basically,
if it's a question of nuclear weapons, we have got the same. If it's a question of economic, we have got more than that.
Okay.
What is it that those people are sitting there for that India does not have right now?
So
we should make it very clear.
Mohammad Ali Shah, okay.
We should give them a deadline. Either we get the one of the P5, P6 seats, or else we retreat. Simple as that. We have to look after our interests. We can't waste our time, have our soldiers getting killed in UN missions, and and let's be selfish for once.
Okay, all right, okay. Mohammad Ali Shah, all right, Arjun. Mohammad Ali Shah, UN doesn't do anything for us. It's a sum of its members. Obviously, that's a different topic of debate, that it receives money from these members, and the responsiveness that is shown to these members is based on the kind of monies it receives. So, sitting over here, we should not really be happy. We should not be gloating about the fact that they have finally come to terms with Pakistan being a terrorist organization. We should in fact still continue, like Arjun said, other platforms whereby we can expose Pakistan. Social media, for that matter, is perhaps even better than the United Nations. If it doesn't serve any purpose in any which ways, then we have other platforms to explore, starting with social media.
Absolutely agree. In fact, the UN coming to terms, it should not be a big deal at all. This should have happened much earlier. Just for example, after the 1971 war, we took over 95,000 prisoners of war from Pakistan, who we returned back with full dignity. Pakistan, once again, now they had 56 soldiers of ours in their custody. The UN and the Red Cross Society went to inspect the Pakistani jails, but they found none of our Indian soldiers over there. But they are still, till today, they are missing. And the families have written to the Red Cross Society, to the UN, but nothing has come out of it till today. Now I don't know, being by the UN's reaction and favoring towards Pakistan and then China on 10th of March 2019, when they say Masood Azhar would not be declared a global terrorist, but it took months, as Joyita said, to finally get him declared a global terrorist. Now, these are signs where UN 100%. And on the contrary, we send our UN peacekeeping force to other countries and get us soldiers killed unnecessarily. It's futile. What for? And I totally agree. Also over here, let us be selfish for one.
Yeah,
let us after our own interest first.
And Sumit, it's futile to expect anything more from the United Nations. Is it going to help us? catch these terrorists? Is it going to send some sort of a mission to Pakistan to ascertain that these people, these enemies of the state, are taken to books? Not at all.
I think we need, if it is American interest, they might do something. If it is our interest, we have seen for last 30 years, 3 decades, we have only wasted our time, nothing has happened. What I want to bring up here, Vineet, I think 1 or 2 days back, President Trump sent a tweet. He said that G7 is irrelevant without India and Australia being there. That is the position what India demands and commands in the World Forum. If this United Nations wants to give us a permanent seat in UNSC, United Nations Security Council, then it is we are into it. Otherwise, I agree with my fellow panelists. Why are we getting our soldiers killed? What is UN for all these years for us? Nothing. भाई किस लिए बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना क्या होगा उससे you say I have one problem we need very solid problem. A person with a gun crosses over to Kashmir, he is a freedom fighter है भैया वो, and if he crosses to Afghanistan he becomes a terrorist, most designated terrorist. They count their numbers, they know their किस district में है, ID expert है या नहीं है, कितने Kalashnikov लेके गया, कितनी गोलियां लेके गया. What is this dichotomy? What is this hypocrisy? From same Pakistan, you cross on
all right, Sumit, we've run out of time. Last 10 seconds to Joyita Basu and then we wrap it up. Joyita, to be or not to be? A question for the United Nations.
The thing is that it is better not to be than to be, as far as because the UN is not doing anything that can really help the world. And for that matter, look at what is happening with UN bodies like World Health Organization. It's so ineffective, ineffectual. I mean, everywhere China has got its claws in. So what exactly, if you want a world order, a new world order, are you going to look at a world order where China is ruling? So sorry, because if the way the United Nations is, if the world bodies that it controls, it continues in that way, China, it is kind of giving the keys of the world to China. Sorry, it is better not to be.
Absolutely. So, all right, so that nails it. Yeah, all right. So, of course, the United Nations, it's been around for a long time, but when it comes to Indian interests, it's not been of much help, service or value. At the same time, it's only enraged us in its partial treatment towards China and Pakistan.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.